What's going on, guys? This is Kwak, one of the Kwak Brothers, real estate investors, and today in this video I want to show you guys how to start your own successful real estate wholesaling business. Now, wholesaling is one of those strategies that require very little to no money down to start and requires very little risk, but I do have to say that it takes a lot of tremendous effort to build a system, to build a process, and ultimately build that business up to where it's profitable. It is a profitable business if you know exactly what you're doing, and I'm hoping that this video will help you get started, jumpstart into at least understanding how wholesaling works. I'm going to show you a quick overview of the process, the basic skill set that you need to develop, what you need to find down the road to consistently have deals coming down the road, and also at the end of the video I'm going to show you guys more trainings that you can possibly take to be even more successful. So before I continue with my content, it's very important that I tell you that I am not an attorney, I am not a CPA, nor am I any licensed professional. So it is very important that you can seek and find a competent real estate attorney to get real tax and legal advice from, of course CPAs as well. So in any matters of real estate investing and real estate transaction, I highly recommend that you work with a competent real estate attorney to give you some good solid advice and help you with that transaction. You have no idea how many people I've seen in the past 10-20 years, just the track records of people who get into real estate deals without any attorneys, and they get into very deep trouble. So it's very important that you work with a competent real estate attorney that's right for you. Okay, so wholesaling, for those who don't understand how wholesaling works, I want to make sure you guys are understanding the distinction between being a real estate broker / being a wholesaler. So a real estate broker, in most cases, do not take any equitable interest, meaning they don't, they're not taking any position as a buyer or a seller. So a real estate broker's job is to ultimately find buyers and sellers and match them into the right property. So if a seller has a property that they want to sell to the right buyer, the broker helps them buy through the through their knowledge, through their tools that they have, through the relationships, right? So it's very important that you make a distinction what a real estate broker is and wholesalers do. Wholesalers, on the other hand, do take equitable interest, meaning they become a buyer, they become someone who takes a position in the contract as a buyer that ultimately sells their interest in that contract and in that deal to another real estate investor. So I'm going to draw that out for you in a visual form. I love visual. I don't know about you guys. Chances are, if you're watching a video, I would assume that you guys prefer a visual method as well. So I'm going to use my best artistical abilities to make a little house for you guys. So let's imagine that this is a deal that a wholesaler found for $100,000 sale price, right? But if once you learn, and this is part of becoming a successful wholesaler, is being educated in how to analyze the deal, understanding the market, and other detailed and functional components to real estate investing. You have to understand the analysis component of real estate as well. So you need to be able to analyze how much repair it's going in. You need to understand how to do do comparables after repair value, ARVs. So let's say for this example and demonstration that this property needs about $20,000 of repairs, and with that repair being done, the market shows that we can sell this property for, let's say, $160,000, and that's what we like to call ARV, so after repair value. So that ARV figure is very important because that determines, again, how to, working backwards, how much the property is going to be sold for. It could also determine what the appraisal is going to be and so forth. So it's really important to understand what the ARV is. And I do have another video called How to Start a Successful Fix and Flip Business. I explain how to calculate the ARV, so you can check that video out after you're done with this. So as a wholesaler, we got to do some analysis, right? You cannot skip this, and you have no idea how many wholesalers bring deals to me, and they send me their analysis, and it's basically all crap, right? The analysis is done all wrong. The numbers are not correct, right? And it's just the accuracy and the integrity of these analysis aren't there, right? So I want you guys to be really laser focused into learning how to do analysis of any deal that come to you, so that you can go ahead and wholesale these out really quick. So we know that $160,000 ARV with $20,000 repair costs. Let's pretend for now that includes the buying cost, selling cost, holding costs, and all sorts of costs that are associated with this deal. So if this is the repair and this is the purchase, I'm gonna make sure we label. So that means we can make a potential profit of about $40,000, right? So that is a potential profit here. Now, upon determining that this is a great deal, you say, okay, this is a phenomenal deal. I'm gonna go ahead and place an offer for $100,000, and we're gonna go ahead and put it under contract. Now, it is super duper important that you have the property under contract. Now, the law says you have to have equitable interest, and in my personal opinion, there are two main ways to do this, either being accomplished by putting it under contract, purchase contract, or having the seller and you as the buyer enter into a contract for options. So what an options agreement is, it gives you, it's an agreement to buy something. It really isn't a purchase necessarily. It's really a contract or an agreement to say, hey, you and I, the seller, you the seller and me the buyer, are going to agree to buy this property at this price with this term, and I can buy, this offer, or I should say this this option to buy in the terms that I described in the contract is going to end in a certain date, right? It's almost like stock options where you can buy the stock price for a specific price for for a period of time. Just like stock options, with real estate options agreement, you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to buy this property for $100,000, and you're gonna promise for that price for however many long. Now, most options agreements can be anywhere between 30 to 60 days. I had an options agreement that was 18 months long, right, which gave me plenty of time to do the wholesale, to do the deal. So the longer the options agreement in terms of time period and the expiration of that option, the better it is, right? Of course, you want to have no option fee as possible. Some seller might require an option fee, a little $500, $1,000, really depends on what the situation might be. But that fee basically is basically a consideration. It's like, hey, if you really are serious about this options agreement, I want to see it. I want you to put your money where your mouth is. That's what the option fee is there for. So let's say my favorite way to put a property under contract is through options agreement. Just my personal preference. Some other real estate investors may say differently. They may say, well, I want a purchase contract because it's easier to execute right away. Some other real estate investors may have a different idea. For me, I like to put things under options agreement just because it's less red tape for me to deal with, just my personal experience. So let's say we're gonna go ahead and put this under contract using an options agreement. And in this case, I'm the buyer, but in the language of this contract, I'm the optionee and the seller is gonna be the optionor. Optionor basically means the person that's giving the option. Optionee obviously is the person that is receiving the options agreement. So seller, or also known as the optionor, and I'm the buyer here, right? And there's a trick that's going around, or at least the popular trend that people are talking about, most real estate investors are talking about, is the and or assigns clause, or putting it next to your buyer's name. So here's what that means. I'm gonna try to backtrack and explain as much as possible. In order for the contract, in order for you to assign your interest in that contract over to someone else, another buyer, another real estate investor, the contract has to allow it, right? In most states, and again, this is something that you should be asking an attorney, not me, ask an attorney. Most states do not allow contracts to be assignable just by default, right? That's just assumed, kind of a quasi thing that, most contracts are not assignable. So you have to expressively write and make sure that the contract allows it to be assignable. And one way that most real estate investors have been doing, in a popular way, was putting your buyer name. So for me, I have an LLC, so Noble Properties LLC, or assigns. right? It's important that you use or signs, not and or sign, because if you put and, that could potentially put you, still put you as the buyer or the exerciser as an optionee, right? So you want to put, you know, whatever XYZ LLC, whatever your company your business name might be, or assigns as the buyer. Does that make sense? In certain cases, your attorney may advise you that you, instead of doing that, you add an addendum and like an extra page, or you know, using the back of the contract. At the end of the contract, add an addendum that says, hey, right to assign and such forth. I know certain real estate investors have done that in certain different states that have different rules. So that's one of the ways to make sure that your contract is assignable. And this is another point to understand, that the seller has to be disclosed, meaning you have to let the seller know that you're going to be assigning this contract via telling them, hey, I'm going to assign this contract over to another person who's you know, more qualified to buy this than me, or I'm going to assign this contract over to someone that has been working with me. He's like a partner to me. But obviously, you want to tell them the truth. You want to be honest. You don't want to be deceptive. You know, I don't support or recommend shady, or you know, you don't want to do any of that, right? So you want to make sure the seller knows that you're going to be assigning that the contract over, or if it's an options agreement, you're going to be signing that options agreement over to another optionee. So this is where you get paid, right? Getting paid is where it matters, right? It's important for you and I. So the way you would get paid is if you have to sign this, your interest in that contract, you as the buyer, to another buyer who has the money. Oh, I made a spelling mistake. I'm going to go ahead and correct that mistake. So another buyer for a small fee, and typically this fee ranges anywhere between $5,000 to about $10,000 in wholesale fee. Okay, I advise you, and again, this isn't coming from an attorney. I would advise you that you don't go too far above the $10,000, because that's when we start to enter the zone of illegal flipping, which you don't want to engage yourself in. So keep the assignment fee or wholesale fee lowest, you know, as $5,000 upwards of $10,000. I mean, even if you do 2 to 3 deals like this every month, I mean, you're looking at $10,000 or $15,000, or upwards of, you know, $10,000 or $30,000 of wholesale profit, which is not bad at all. And if you look at the new buyer, right, your cash buyer's point of view, they're going to be taking away $35,000 or $30,000 profit, of course, pending if you did your deal, if you did your analysis correctly. So really, this is the reason why you're getting paid. Okay, this is the ultimate value that you're providing in this deal, in this situation. The reason why you're getting paid is, number one, your ability to analyze this deal, right? If you can analyze this deal beautifully, it's correct, it's accurate, it's sound, reasonable, there's no weird, you know, errors to it, right? That's number one value you're creating in order for you to get paid. Number two, your value proposition in this case is you have the ability to find these deals, right? Some of these real estate investors who have cash, you know, they can do the deal, right? They may not have all the time in the world to go out there and look for deal or to analyze. So what ultimately, you're acting as an outsourced, you know, deal finder kind of thing. Now, again, it's really important that we don't get too murky, right, or commingle our business with what a real estate broker does, right? I want to make sure we draw a fine, you know, strong line there, right? We don't want to cross that line of acting like a real estate broker without a license. So it's really important that we draw that distinction, right? So the value you're providing, number one, is analyzing the deal. You're providing the analysis, you're providing the homework, so to speak, the time. Number three, the next value you're providing is being able to find these sweet deals. Now, probably your next question will be, well, how do I find these deals, right? I do have another video for how to find deals for wholesaling. If you guys want an extensive version of that, I can talk about a training in just a second. The third value you're providing is you've already created this relationship with the seller, right? So that the new buyer, the buyer that you're assigning your interest over to, doesn't have to do that, right? In some cases, you may have to still introduce the new buyer to the seller if you want to be ethical as much as possible. Sometimes that might not be the case. So it all differs between situation. You have to use your best judgment, experience, and knowledge and training. And I do encourage you guys to keep on learning. Make sure you keep adapting yourself. The market always changes and shifts. So with that being said, like I mentioned, I want to offer you guys a free 36-minute wholesaling training. A little longer than this. It's going to be building up to what we just talked about. This free 36-minute training webinar, if you sign up for it, no strings attached, right? No obligation. I'm going to cover how to find the deals, right? How to also find your buyers, right? Because ultimately that's your customer, right? You want to make sure you have as many customers as possible ready to buy wholesale deals from you, right? That's really important. So I'm gonna cover that as well. I'm also gonna show you guys how to transcend wholesaling. So instead of just constantly wholesaling, right? Because that feels like a job, it takes a lot of time. I want to show you guys a possibility where you can go from wholesaling to actually doing the deals, like buying rental properties, doing the fix and flip deals, getting into multifamily. Right now, my brother and I are about to buy a 36-unit apartment complex, so that's exciting. We also have another 80-unit on the table that we're ready to pull the trigger. We got the funding, we have the deal, we just need to do it. So it's always fun, right? So I want to help you guys get to where my brother and I are, so that eventually you can start buying rental properties, create that passive and residual income coming to you. We want to help you do that. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit and briefly about how to automate your wholesaling business, right? Ultimately, you still want to build that revenue in, but you don't necessarily want to constantly manage that business. You want to make sure you're having the key players and talents that are helping you with that business. I want to also talk about softwares that are going to help you. I have a software that also comes with like close to 800,000 potential private lenders. Comes with 14 million cash buyer database. All that's available in that 36-minute training webinar. So I'll throw that sign up link down below. Again, no obligation. I'm not going to ask for a credit card. I'm not going to ask for any of that. It's my complimentary gift to you guys for watching my video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. And I appreciate you guys supporting me by viewing this video. I thank you so much for it. So I'm going to throw that link down below in the comment section. I'll probably even throw it right here on that in the video itself, as you can probably see. But look for it in the link description down below. Also, before we end this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that I can continually provide you guys with some valuable content about real estate investing. Be sure to click like on that down below. And again, guys, I thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to continually serve you guys and provide value in terms of real estate investing. And I wish you the best of luck in getting your wholesaling business started. And feel free to reach out to me, ask questions. I would love to answer them. So